Hey guys, so this is my second time doing this video, so hopefully this time it works out good. I didn't put the sound on last time, so no fun with that. Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I'm going to do 10.2 and 10.3 together. So you can expect there just to be a little bit longer, but then you'll be able to do more work and I can kind of assign more things if we do these two things together. So we're going to be doing two-step equations. So last time that we did some math, we did one-step equations, super easy, but now we're going to do two-step. And there's just some rules and some things that you need to remember. The first thing I want to say is that the way that I'm showing my work is the way that you have to show your work on everything you do in this unit. So just make sure that you're not taking shortcuts, that you're not just writing the answers, but that you're always showing exactly the way that I'm doing. So the first thing about equations, we kind of talked about this before, but this is going to become really important this time, is that when you solve equations, you always do the opposite operation, which means that if you see in the question that there's an addition sign, then how you're going to solve it is you're going to do the opposite. So the opposite of addition right here is subtraction. You see that? And we need to remember too that the opposite of multiplication is division. And so if we go to these three questions right here, we're going to see that we're doing the opposites. So last time we looked at 3x, which means 3 times x. So we need to do the opposite here. We need to divide by 3 on each side of the equal sign and bam that out to get our answer, which is 4. So here in this question, this says x divided by 5 equals 3. Well, because it's asking you in the question to divide, then in order to solve, you must multiply to get the answer. So what we do is we put brackets around the fraction, 5 in the corner, so the number that's on the bottom we put in the top up here, we bam them out, and then we go to the other side and multiply by 5. And so then that gives us x equals 15. In this question, x plus 4 equals 6. We have this plus sign right here. That means we have to do the opposite, which is subtract. So subtract 4 from each side of the equal sign and bam out your 4's. And so once you subtract, 6 minus 4 is 2. So how to solve is by doing the opposite operation. So when we get to two-step equations, then you're going to see a question that looks a little something like this. 2x plus 3 equals 7. It means that there's going to be two steps in here. You're always going to have an add or subtract, and you're always going to have a letter or a variable beside or with a number. And so what you want to do here, when we look at our steps, step 1, is that we always deal with the plus or the minus first. So you always have to look for this plus sign or the minus sign first. So since I found it in the question, this plus right here, I know what I need to do. I need to do the opposite. It says here, move it to the other side of the equal sign by doing the opposite, which is adding or subtracting. So I found my plus 3, because that's what I deal with first every time, and I need to put a minus underneath, so minus 3 from that side, and minus 3 from that side. All right, so once you do that, you get this 2x comes down here, it stays the same, and 7 minus 3 is 4. Cool. So our second step now, we're on this part of the equation, 2x equals 4. Now you've seen this before, so what you need to do is our last step in the equation that we're doing is we divide and multiply last. So don't ever multiply or divide first in any of these equations. You always have to move the plus or the minus over first, and then you divide or multiply last. And you leave the number with the letter until last. So that's this right here. This 2x, we don't deal with that till the very end. And so here's some examples of things that you would leave to the end. 2x or 3x or x divided by 2. So anyways, when we do that, because this says 2x, that means 2 times x. So we have to do the opposite. Divide by 2 and bam out the 2, and then go over to the other side and divide by 2. When you divide 4 by 2, you get x equals 2, and that's your answer. This says, remember, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you need to do to the other. You're going to hear me say that over and over again. You always have to do the same thing on both sides. So in this case, we divided by 2, and so we have to divide by 2 on the other. there's some other examples that have some weird scenarios, so I just wanted to give you that right here. So this one has the answer in front of the equal sign. So negative 10 equals 3x plus 2. So it's a little bit of a different rewrite because you've got these answers here. And so you need to know, well, what do I deal with first? So if you look over here in step 1, it says that we have to move the number away from the letter. So what that means is we have to remove this number. It doesn't have an x attached to it, and we have to move it away from this letter, which is the 3x. So we have to start on this side because I found the plus sign. And since I found that plus sign, I know that I can move that away by addition or subtraction. Always your first step is adding or subtracting. So I find the plus sign, there it is. I do the opposite. Minus 2, bam it out. Go to the other side of the equal sign, minus 2, and solve. So when I go negative 10 minus 2, it gets more minusy. So I have negative 12 equals 3x. Okay, cool. So now what I have here is my step 2. Now I need to isolate the variable, which means that I need to do my divide or multiplying step, which is my last step. So I've got to, here, this means 3 times x, so I need to do the opposite. Divide by 3 and bam it out. Bring the 3 over here, divide by 3, negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4 equals x. That's kind of a weird way to write it, but lots of people do. But I like to write it like this, so I just flipped it and said that x equals negative 4. So that's how you do this question if the answer is over on that side of the equal sign. All right, so here we have another one of those questions where the answer is on that side of the equal sign and we need to solve. And there's just a small little thing here that's happening. It's a little different as well. So the first thing we need to do is identify the number that we need to move away from the letter. Well, if I take a look here, I find that there's a number here and it's 6. The difference between all these other questions is that the problem is that that's going to show up on my recording, so that's funny. Anyway, so this 6 right here is actually positive. It doesn't tell you that it's positive, but it is. We know that 6 is positive 6. So, and here's the letter part right here, negative 5x. We need to move the number away from the letter by adding or subtracting. So what we do first is we subtract 6 from this side, bam it out, subtract 6 over here, and you should be able to do that here. So 26 minus 6 is 20, and that equals negative 5x. Our last step always is to move the number away from the letter by adding subtract. Sorry, that's not our last step, that's our first step. But then we isolate the variable by dividing or multiplying. That's our last step right here. So we've got to deal with this negative 5x. What do? We put a line under that and divide by negative 5. Make sure that we divide by the negative because this comes with it, okay? And so negative 5x, we have to divide by negative 5 so that we can cancel that out. Divide by negative 5, and then we get negative 4 equals x, or x equals negative 4, like I write it like this, okay? So that's how you do that part. Awesome. So I'm going to zip over here to this part right here, and I just want to show you some things about this solving piece. So I'm just going to show you an example. 2x plus 3 equals 8. Let's do 9. Okay. So here we go. I just want to show you again just the steps and the dynamic of how it would work with me showing you fluidly here. So first step, identify the plus or the minus, the number in this question. So guess what? That's plus 3. We got to deal with that first. So then what we do is we subtract 3 from it so that we can cancel it. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So we would subtract 3 on that side. Okay, so we get 2x equals 6. Awesome. Now we do our last step, which is dividing or multiplying. Since 2x means 2 times x, I need to divide by 2 here, cancel that out, divide by 2 here, and I get x equals 3. Notice how I'm always trying to get x by itself, which is why I divide by 2. Okay, I don't divide by 6 because it's not sitting beside an x. It needs to be sitting beside an x to do the step. So cool, that's x equals 3 there. If we do another one where we have, say, negative 10 equals, let's do 8 plus 4x. what we need to do here is we need to first identify the number to remove away from the x, and that number is 8. We know that 8 is positive, even though it doesn't actually say that it's positive, and so we need to subtract it. Okay, so we need to subtract 8, all right, get rid of it, and then go to the other side and subtract 8. Negative 10 minus 8, you can do it on your calculator, but we know a negative minus 8 is going to be more minusy, so negative 18 equals 4x. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to find the x, and you need to do your last step, which is multiplying or dividing. Well, since this is 4 times x, we need to divide by 4 and cancel divide by 4. And 18 divided by 4 is some sort of decimal. Just gotta grab this. 18 divided by 4 is 4.5. So, and it's negative because a negative divided by a positive is a negative 4.5. Cool, so that would be your answer. You can also leave your answer in fraction form. So negative 18 over 4 is good, except that we'd want to bring it to lowest terms. And so we would get 9 over 2 for that. But yeah, so that's how you solve these types of equations. Okay, let's go to the next piece. The next piece that we have is the U-try. And so what I need you guys to do right now is I need you to have a piece of paper, your notebook out in front of you, and I want you to try all these 4 questions, pause the video, do them all by yourself, come back and check to see if your answers were the exact same as mine. I'm going to show step-by-step how to do it on the video, and so you can watch as well, or just check your answers after that. Then we're going to move on to dividing. So you can pause the video now, do all 4 questions yourself, and then come back and check and see if you got them right. Okay, so I'm going to do these. First thing I'm going to do is identify my plus or minus, which is plus 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from this side and from the other side of the equal sign. I have 3x equals 12. So now I need to be able to see that that's my dividing piece. So I need to divide by 3 here, and bam it, divide by 3. X equals 4 in this case. There you go. Awesome. This question, number 2, I need to find out my plus or minus number by the x, which is minus 6. So I need to, underneath the minus 6, I need to plus 6, and I need to plus 6 over here. Bam that out. So I get 4x equals 9. Okay, cool. So now I need to find my multiplier. 4 times x, that means I need to do the opposite, divide by 4 here, bam it out, divide by 4 here. And what you get is you get a decimal number, or you get the fraction. 9 over 4 is perfect, or you could write 2.25. That works too. Awesome. Moving on to number 3, we need to find the add or subtraction piece, which is plus 8. So what I need to do there is subtract 8 from this side, bam it out, subtract 8. 76 minus 8 is 68. Negative 4x. Okay, cool. I need to find my multiplier now, which is negative 4 times x. I need to isolate the variable by dividing by 4. Bam the bottom, divide by negative 4. And 68 divided by 4 just happens to be 17. Remember that I'm dividing by a negative 4. I'll show that there. So x would equal negative 17. Okay, cool beans. And then this one, I need to find my adding or subtraction piece, which this one is just positive 14. So I have to minus 14 from that side, minus 14 from that side. Negative 100 minus 14 is negative 114 equals 2x. Then I need to find my multiplier, which is 2x, divide by 2, and bam the bottom, divide by 2, and we have 114 divided by 2 is 57. And since it's a negative divided by a positive, it's negative 57. Cool. So check your answers, and let's move on to the next piece, which is 10.3. Okay. So here we go. This one is solving 2-step equations when you have a division statement. So x divided by 2 plus 4 equals 10. So this is a little bit different than what we were looking at before because it has a dividing statement. So we have a division statement in there. And so you got to follow these steps exactly to solve. So step number 1 in this question is we still need to move the number away from the letter by adding or subtracting. So we find our plus 4 and do the exact same thing that we were doing back at the top from the other questions. And we need to minus 4 here and minus 4 here. Cool. You bam that out and you get x over 2 equals 6. All right, so step 2 is isolating that variable by getting the letter by itself, by multiplying or dividing. You guys, this is a division statement, so we need to do the opposite, and that means we need to multiply this 2. So what you need to do in all of your steps is you need to find the fraction and put brackets around it first. Then you need to take the bottom number, put it up at the top, and bam it out. So fractions, put the 2 up there and bam it out. Then, whatever you do to one side, since we multiplied by 2 up there, we need to multiply 2 to the other side, and you will get 6 times 2, which is x equals 12. And that's your answer. So I just wrote down here the steps for division. Remember to do it just like this, right? Always put brackets, always put your multiplier in the top, cancel it out, and then put it to the other side. Put the bottom number on the top and bam the bottoms. So step 3, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. And since we multiplied, we go 6 times 2, which is 12, and there you have it. So that's how a division statement in 2 steps looks. There's some other examples too that we just want to show you, and so here they are. Again, we have the scenario where the 2 is on the other side of the equal sign. It's kind of like, and we go 2 equals 10 plus x divided by 4. Okay, same step, move the number away from the letter by adding or subtracting. So guess what, guys? 10 is positive. I need to minus 10 from this side and minus 10 from this side. And so what we do is we get negative 8 over here equals x over 4. Guess what, guys? Second step, put the brackets around the fraction and multiply what the bottom number is. So we put these brackets here, we take the bottom number, put it in the corner, bam it out, come over to this side and multiply. 4 times negative 8 is negative 32, and that's your answer. Cool beans. So that's how you do it if it's on the other side. But here's a question. What if the bottom number is negative? And so you'll see here that we got a negative 5 on the bottom. X divided by negative 5 plus 3 equals 23. All right, so same exact steps. We need to start by finding our plus or minus, which is plus 3. So we're going to minus 3 from this side, bam it out, minus 3 from this side. 23 minus 3 is 20 right there. So you get x over negative 5 equals 20. Okay, now brackets around the fraction. You've got to put this negative 5 and multiply it to itself to be able to cancel it. So on the other side, you're going to go 20 times negative 5. So x equals negative 100 because 20 times negative 5 is 100. So that's how you do it if it's negative. So let's just take a little look-see at the last few things, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I'm going to give some examples here just to make sure that we're getting this right and being able to solve this. X over 2 minus 3 equals 4. First step, guys, find this subtraction or addition statement. There it is, minus 3. Right underneath, put plus 3 and bam it out. Go to the other side, plus 3. So we have x divided by 2 equals 7. All right, now we find our multiplying division statement. X divided by 2 equals 7. So what I do is the opposite. I put brackets around the fraction. I put this 2 on the top. I cancel it out. I go over here and do the same thing. 7 times 2, because I multiplied by 2 up there. X equals 14, and I'm totally finished. Totally awesome. Okay, let's just do one more example. If I had 10 on this side, and I had 6 plus x over negative 5, what would we do here? Well, first step again, find the number and move it over by adding or subtracting. That's the 6 that we need to move. Minus 6, minus 6. 10 minus 6 is 4, equals x over negative 5. Then what I need to do is I need to put brackets around my fraction. I need to put -5 in the top corner and multiply that out. Bam it. Go over to this side, times it by -5. -5 times 4 is -20. There's my answer. So that's how you do two-step equations with division. So if we go back to our statement now, we can actually do the U-tries. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to pause the video again, and I want you to solve these problems by yourself. I'm going to solve them here, and then you come back and check your answers. Make sure that you did every step correctly. And once you finish this, you can go ahead and access the assignments that I've posted for you today. There's 2 pages with a few questions, and then on Friday we'll post a little bit more. So yeah, basically now you know how to do dividing and multiplying and two-step equations. So pause the video now, do these 4 questions all by yourself, and then come back, check your answers, and you're good to go. Okay, so here I'm going to do this question right now. I find my plus or minus statement, which is +4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from this side, bam it, subtract 4 from this side, and I get x over 3 equals 2. All right, then I find my fraction, put the brackets, put the 3 on top, multiply this side by 3, x equals 6 for this one. Over here on question 2, I find my adding or subtracting, and I find 6. I know it's positive. I need to move it away from that x. So I subtract 24 minus 6 is, I need to check, 18 equals, this one, negative x over -3. Put this negative just down there to make it a little simpler. So we're just going to put brackets around this, put the -3 in the corner, bam that out, times this by -3. 18 times -3 is -54 equals x. Whammo blammo. Over here, I find my plus or minus, and I found my plus 32, so I need to subtract it. Bam it out, subtract 32. -14 minus 32 becomes more minusy, minus 46 equals x over -2. Put brackets around that, -2 up in the corner, bam it. Okay, times this side by -2, because that's what we did up there. 2 times 46 is, negative times a negative is a positive, so that becomes a positive 92 equals x. This one right here, find the plus or minus. I found the minus. I put a plus directly underneath it. Put the 6 there, bam it out. Put the 6 to the other side. X over -4 equals 14, right? Cool. Then put the brackets around your fraction. Put the -4 up here and multiply it out. Go over to this side, multiply that by -4. 14 times -4 is -56, and you are done. Awesome. So hopefully you got the same answers there as me. If you did, you are good to go. You can check the questions up on the classroom, do the textbook pages, and then there will be some other stuff to do coming up in the next day or two. But this is for homework, 10.1 and 10.2. Make sure that you finish it by Friday. Hand in 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3 on Friday if you can, and that would be great. I'll talk to you soon.